All right, what's going on, people? First of all, welcome to the Reverse Flip Deal Desk. This is the first one. We are going live here, and we're going to be reviewing, two deals. Both of them we own. Both of them are different circumstances. Both of them we bought them using the reverse flip method, and both of them were dead leads to the entire world before us. What I'm going to do is walk you through not only what types of deals they were from the data's perspective, right? What kind of leads were they? Where would you find these types of leads? What type of lists would they have been on, and were they on? How we did the marketing to them, how the JVs found these deals, the contact that happened, and then how we ended up getting deeds for them instead of contracts, and we ended up controlling the entire transaction. And of course, then we're going to go through the numbers, underwriting, like going through the deep dive of what we saw that nobody else saw. And after we piece the deal together, right, the whole structure, the framing, then we're going to go into the dispo, which is the fun part, in my opinion, which is where all the money gets made, right? So we're going to actually tell you, hey, here's how we're going to exit these deals. One of them is a keeper for me as a rental because it's just too good to pass up. And the other one is a quick flip. We're probably going to make somewhere around 50 grand on without swinging a hammer, all right? So we're going to get into the nitty gritty. We're going to get into the details. So this is the first time that I'm here. This is the first time we do this. So we're going to do our best to, share all the screens and all that kind of stuff. So the first thing I want to know, and I'm so new to this, so by all means, can you guys see my screen right now? And I don't even know how you would communicate with me, to be honest with you. But regardless, if you can, then drop a comment, right? And I do see some viewers here, so that's awesome. So if you can see my screen, you should be seeing 4531 Southwest 20th Street, which is West Park, Florida. It's in Broward County. That's going to be the first deal. The second deal is going to be 3300 Spanish Moss Terrace, Unit 301. So these are real addresses. These are real deals. Feel free to follow along if you're from down south, right? And you have the property appraiser, etc. Feel free to go through it. I'm going to start with so we use a couple different things, right? I use a couple different apps. I use a couple different websites to do this stuff, right? So by the way, we're going to go for about an hour here, all right? So I'm really going to do a deep dive on both of these deals. So if you're just hearing about what the heck is reverse flip and what is this thing right here, what does this mean, who is this guy? So I come from the world of wholesaling, started wholesaling in 2017, done about 800 or so transactions there. So certainly put up the time and the brain damage and the bandwidth. So I ran a very successful wholesale company down in South Florida. But in 2019, I discovered, but in reality, I stumbled upon by a mentor of mine. It was a dead lead, right? What we would consider a dead lead in our marketplace, and nobody wanted it. The seller called in, and he said, and I remember distinctly, he said, "I don't own the house anymore." And the property appraiser said otherwise. The property appraiser said he did own the house. So come to find out, fast forward, he had 2 mortgages on the property. There was a bankruptcy that had been done, in 2009 through the whole crash of 0809. And, one thing led to another. And I asked my mentor at that time, I said, look, this really pisses me off. Where do these dead leads go, right? And he said, well, they either go to auction or you can buy them. You can get the deed and solve the paperwork issues on the back end. And if you solve them, then you can make a lot of money. Obviously, just buy them for peanuts, right? Because it's a big risk. And I said, okay, great. So I bought the deed for $0 up front and $5,000 on the back end. And that's kind of where reverse flip was born back in 2019. We made it a legitimate strategy in 2024, which is pretty cool. And this is how these deals are acquired. So I became an expert at going after what everybody in this industry would consider a dead deal or a hairy deal or a dead lead or a canceled contract or a canceled deal, right? I've dealt with more of those than I can care to count, right? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I have always made money off of bigger problems, right? I always say the bigger the problem, the bigger the profit. So yes, I've lost money as well. I'm not sitting here lying to you and telling you that I've never lost money. So any real investor has definitely lost money, right? There is risk associated with this. This is investing, but there's no competition virtually when it comes to these kinds of things, because no other wholesaler really has ever taught this and knows how to go after these. All right. So we're going to start with 4531. All right. Southwest 20th Street, West Park, Florida. Okay. And this address, and actually, as a matter of fact, let me just pull this up for you so you can take a good look at the physical aspect of it. All right. Because the first thing here is you see physical distress. All right. So call it driving for dollars, right? Virtual driving for dollars. I don't know why this is not working. Give me a second. 4531 Southwest. I don't need AI mode. There we go. What I need is maps. Bam. That's not right. That's the one. Come on, buddy. Okay, so this is 4531 right here. Oops. 1 second. I don't know why it's not pinging me to the right place. Hold on. Southwest 20th Street, West Park, Florida. Let's try this with the zip code. All right, so I could tell you it's a neighborhood. You definitely see this is a lower income neighborhood, right? Beat up properties everywhere. This guy owns a double lot here, but for some reason, this is not pulling up for me. So I'm going to go to the property appraiser. Stand by. We can fix this. We got backups. So 4531, right? 4531 Southwest 20th Street. Bam. There it is. There it is. Boom. So this is what we want to pull up, right? This is what you want to see in terms of a physically distressed asset, all right? What I mean by that, guys, is the house looks like shit. Okay, just simply put, the house looks like it needs work. Okay, why? There's bars all over the windows. There's bars covering the front of the house. The garage looks like it's beat up. The roof, the paint, right? The driveway's beat up. There's this like concrete block column or something that's falling apart. It just yells out to me, hey, I need help, right? There's probably financial signs of distress, debt, title issues behind the scenes here. But the first indication that I always like to have people do, because we do a lot of virtual driving for dollars, is physical issues, right? So here you go. Does this look like a property that you'd want to market to? Me, without knowing anything else, yes. Okay. And you should feel the same exact way. So this house is a pretty standard house for South Florida. Okay. Now we're going to go down here and go to the taxes. One of the first things I check out is I love a tax delinquency list, meaning that the property owes taxes, okay? Now, I go and look at this first. So it has 1 year of tax delinquencies. So let me just stop here for a second. 1 year of tax delinquency, I would not consider motivation, okay? I've been doing this a long time, and one of my number one lists has been tax delinquency. Tax delinquency has, like any other list, right, has different degrees of motivation, meaning 1 year of tax delinquency that they just missed in November, which is 3 months ago, that's not highly motivated. 2 years plus, that's a little bit more motivated. 3+ years, that is extremely motivated. Why? Properties go to tax auction after 3+ years of tax delinquency in the state of Florida. So anything above the 3-year mark, it's a very small subset, but it is extremely motivated. And obviously somebody has huge distress, or probably somebody died. There's a deceased owner. That's why the taxes aren't being paid for, right? And the family members or the heirs don't know about it, or they can't afford to continue to pay them. Make sense? So 1 year, not the end of the world. All right. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check out, and this is a quick little hack for you to see if there's a mortgage on a property or not. And this is just one way to do it. I'm going to download the last paid bill. Now let's look at what that says. Okay. So it doesn't say who it's paid by, but usually it'll say paid by right here, right? So it was paid in full. Let's go to the year before that, which would be 2024. So paid by unknown. That means a bank. Okay. So let's go back now. And we use RealFlow. We love it. We're actually having our own app come out very soon, but This property is supposed to have 97% equity. Not the case in this one. We already know, but this Lis Pendens was us, by the way, against the squatter. We'll get to that. It'll be juicy in a second, okay? So what I'm going to go through here is I'm looking for mortgages, all right? So the last mortgage that was recorded on this property, meaning the last time that a loan was taken out, was 2008. It's a reverse mortgage. Why? Because it says so right here. It was about $375,000 at a 4.5% interest rate. So we do know this to be true. There is a reverse mortgage on it, okay? And it's still there from 2008. So we're talking about a mortgage that is almost 20 years old, okay? So usually how reverse mortgages work is they will record 375, but usually, again, this is just a rule of thumb, usually they give about 75% of the recorded amount. They don't give you 100% of it, right? Even back in 08. So 75% means that the seller should have gotten at that point somewhere around $280,000 to $300,000. Now remember, in a reverse mortgage, now the mortgage accrues. There's no monthly payments and there's no principal pay down. So the reverse mortgage now gets accrued, meaning it goes up in debt from 2008 when it was recorded all the way up to today. So I can safely assume that this mortgage is going to be over $300,000 what is owed. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody so far? All right. Cool. So I don't know how to access. Somebody's telling me about comments, but I don't know how to access the comments. Vedant, if you're here, buddy, tell me how to access the comments, and that would be great. Guys, like I said, this is the first time. Oh, hey, here we go. That's my comments. No kidding. Well, that's cool. So, and by the way, I'm going to be doing this live on a workshop. It's absolutely free. January 22nd. Okay. So 3 years, highly motivated. That's right. Great. So got a bunch of stuff here. All right. So let's keep going, right? Let's keep going. Dímelo, Willie. What's up, Thomas? Puerto Rico. Let's go. Vedant. What's up? Emmanuel. Yes, we can. Perfect. So I'm going to keep your comments open over here, and I'm just going to keep going down the list here. All right. Cool. Dope. So, guys, we know that there's a mortgage here. Okay. Now we're going to confirm that there's a mortgage here in a second. And the way that this lead came to us was actually funny. There's a Reverse Flip Pro member that does a bunch of deals, and they had this deal brought to them by a wholesaler, and the wholesaler had this thing sold for $400,000 cash. House is probably worth $5 and change. Had it sold for $400,000. The day before closing, there is a squatter that appears on the property with a dog. All right, you can't make this stuff up. This is stuff that happens all over the country, but I would imagine that South Florida takes the cake at these kinds of situations. So that person ended up being the daughter of the owner, who's she's a little crazy. All right, and let's just say, so what happened was the wholesaler, the buyer obviously that he had, didn't want to close now because the squatter was never a part of the equation. All of a sudden, this guy's scrambling. He can't get the person out. He can't get the dog out. Animal control was called. Animal control did nothing because she pretended to be a tenant. This happens all the time, guys, by the way. So the deal ended up going poof, and it died right there on the vine. And what happened was Chris, who's one of our JVs, he goes, dude, I think I can buy this as an RF deal, like very, very cheap up front, because the seller's just done. Like, he doesn't want to deal with his daughter. He lives out of town. She's crazy, he said, and he's just so tired because we've been working this deal for 3-4 months. He's so tired, he's just ready to be done, and it was his mother's house. So obviously I told him, I was like, look, let's pay him a couple grand up front and let's control the property. If the only thing that's wrong with it is a squatter, I mean, we can get a squatter out like that, right? So that's exactly what happened. We ended up buying it for $3,000, my notes say here, and it was $0 up front, $3,000 on the back end, okay? We ended up going to the property, trying to talk to the squatter. We tried offering her a couple $1,000 so she could leave. She politely told us to go F ourselves, and that was that. So then we sued her, which, an ejectment, because an ejectment is a form of an eviction. An ejectment is done when it is not a tenant. Okay, so write that down. It's very important. All right, so now we're in the middle of that. That is where this Lis Pendens comes into be. All right, right here. Our list, that is our Lis Pendens. And if you click on the app, it's pretty cool. When you open it, it actually tells you who's versus what, right? Her name is Tashonda. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Dixon. The prior owner's name is Annie Dixon. That's her grandmother. And Reverse Flip 1 LLC. Here you go. Land Trust, right? This is the case number. We're going to go check it out in a second. All right, cool. So everybody with me so far? All right, this is a property that was tax delinquent. The real motivation was the squatter issue. We ended up buying the deed for $3,000 on the back end. All right, 0 on the front end. We now are getting rid of the squatter, which is costing $1,000, give or take. It costs about $1,000, and we're gonna sell it free of a squatter for $400,000 to the same guy. The reverse mortgage payoff came back at around $345,000. So there's about $65K worth of spread there after some fees and paying off the lead and all that stuff. We will likely net somewhere between $50,000 to $55,000. The total time in and out will be under 60 days. That's a deal. All right, 100%. So let's keep going through this. So the next thing I'm going to do is, and I'm just going to go Broward County official records. All right, the official records is the clerk of courts. I'm going to do this with you guys in real time. What I'm looking for is that mortgage, and I'm looking to see if there was a satisfaction of that mortgage. All right, and we're going to do this the manual way that most of you have never been taught how to do. So her name was Dixon Annie. There it is. So again, you could look up your county, and any county you're in has a clerk of courts. Most counties are online now. So you would, for example, like Orange County Clerk of Courts, or Orange County Official Records. Boom, you pop that up. If you really want to be a cheater and get ahead in life, use this website called NetR Online. The site, I know it looks like it's from 1999. I get it. But here's the cool thing. I can click into any state, any county, and look, it gives me all the property appraisers, all the tax collectors, right? All the clerk of courts, all that stuff. And if I click on it, it takes me right to that county. It's pretty dope. Extremely fast. And it took me many, many years to find a website like that to make your lives easier. Okay. So here we go. At the bottom, here we go. This is Annie Dixon. So again, what are we looking for? We're looking for a mortgage from 2008 right here, right? That is either there still or has been satisfied. So we're either looking for a satisfaction, and if we don't find a satisfaction, then we know that the mortgage is not there. Cool, great. So let's go down to 2008. Here we go. You're looking at mortgage right here, right? Oh, my bad. Mortgage right here. See that? 2008. We'll pull this up. It's pretty cool. This is why you don't need a lien search or a title search. You can do this all on your own. Here's the adjustable rate. $375,000, right? The expiration, the maturity date is 2086 because it's a reverse mortgage. That's why it's so long. So we do know that the mortgage was there. We also know that it's the right address, 4531 Southwest 20th Street, right? Cool. So we found the mortgage. Now what we're looking for is something that says SAT or satisfaction. Cool. So looking all the way here, I don't see anything up till today that says satisfaction. So I am 99% certain that that mortgage is there. It was assigned a few times. Like, for example, here you go. You have an assignment. GMAC is who runs the reverse mortgages. I was about to say reverse flip. So here's your GMAC, right? And they're assigning it to Nation Credit Mortgage, right? They assign that. They then assign it. And by the way, mortgages get assigned all the time. They then assign it again in 2012, and they then assign it one more time 2023 to the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. This is where usually all reverse mortgages go to die. So here's your reverse mortgage, same house, right? Booking page. I don't have enough time to really go deep into that, but another session for sure. So you know what? I do kind of have time. So a booking page is how things used to be filed. If you could imagine back in the day when the clerk of courts was not online, you would literally go to the clerk of court's office and you would look up a book, and there was books by number. So like book number 2305, and then the page was 26. That's where your document would live. So if you see here, right, book and page right here, this is actually the book and page. So if I had a book and page of the mortgage and I wanted to see the note, I could grab the book and page number, pop that in over here. If I go back, I can look up by book and page. Now I have that document real quick, all right? So it's just kind of like think of like a book and page, like a social security number for your document. Make sense? Cool. So I don't see anything that's going on. What I do see is our deed, right? So again, I like to be transparent and I like to show shit for everybody, all right? So here is our deed. You can see it over here. This is my name, obviously. Annie Dixon, single woman, reverse flip, ba, 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 ba. Here it is, signed away, boom, done, right? So she is no longer the owner. This is the biggest difference between wholesaling and reverse flipping. This is why you get a deed, because I can record it and now I'm the owner. If I have a contract, it's the equivalent of having nothing because you cannot record a contract, all right? The name of the page with all the counties is NetR Online. So I'll just give you this link. How's it going so far? You guys learning something? Did I teach you something new? Here you go. Perfect. So let's keep going. All right. So now we know we still got a mortgage. All right. It's about 350 grand, 340 grand. But we got equity, right? So let's actually check out how much equity this property has. So let's just run some comps. This is our subject, by the way, is a 3.2, 1,736 square feet. All right. This is way too many comps to look at. So I'm going to chop this down. And I'm going to go by only sold status. And then I'm going to go by price. All right. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'll just go price first. And then we'll go sold. So we're looking to match up 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,700 square feet. Obviously, no new constructions. You see this 2020, 2019. That's not a comp. Doesn't count. So I'm just going to drop down to the 5s because that's where our comp is. All right. So here we go. 1960s, right? 1980s. You know, you have a lot to look at here, right? So 575, 3.2s. Okay, here we go. So now we're talking, right? You're talking about, and this is a little different, so be careful because this is Hollywood, right? West Park is technically a little bit further west, hence the name. So West Park here really starts, okay, sold. 1,800 square feet, 3-bed, 2-bath, 560. First comp. Do we agree that it's worth at least 560? Yes. Second comp, 4-bed, 2-bath, very similar square footage. That's a 2025. Doesn't count. Let's keep going. 1956, 1,736 square feet, 2-bed, 1-bath. They're pending at 550, probably pending in the 4s. But listen, by far, for sure, this house is worth at least, and I'm just talking about at least, this is ARV, at least 540. Cool? Everybody good with that? That's an ARV. Okay? Now, I just told you that we are buying, right? Now, we are buying. No, this isn't what the realtors use. This is actually RealFlow. So it's a buddy of mine's company. We are getting a customized version of this real soon. So be ready for that, guys, because it's going to be dope. It's going to launch in about a week. This is not Envelo. So I just told you that we bought the deed. Guys, follow along with me here. We bought the deed for $3,000, right? Plus, we're going to pay the back taxes when we go to sell it, $1,500. Okay, that's what was owed. Plus some legal work to get the squatter out, that kind of stuff. Let's call that $2,000. All right. So 3 plus 1.5 is 4.5 plus 2 is 6.5. The debt is 3. Let's call it 345, right? So plus 7K. We are all in at 352. If I told you that you could buy something for $352,000, a property, and your ARV is 540, do you have a deal there? Yes or no? Please hit me in the chat. Let's make this interactive. Somebody tell me something. If If you guys don't hit me with an answer within the next 20 seconds, I'm just going to cancel the live and we're going to, no, I'm just kidding. Come on, guys. Is this a deal or not? ARV's 540. We're all in at 352. Who wouldn't do that deal? Who wouldn't do that deal? 200K in spread, right? So easy, and I mean easy, we can sell this deal for 400K, right? Obviously, the house needs some work, right? Remember what it looks like? This is what it looks like right here, right? It's a little beat up. You can only imagine what the inside looks like, okay? But we have a deal here. Yes, sir. Yeah, we absolutely do. So we have a 50K spread here all day long. If I wanted to do a fix and flip, which you guys know that I don't teach fix and flip, but if I wanted to do a fix and flip and put probably 60, 70 grand, that's what it's going to take. At my 352, I'd be all into it, let's say for 420-ish. I could sell this for 540. I'm going to end up netting somewhere around 90, 80 to 90. I'd rather just make 50 G's without swinging a hammer, okay? The ARV is 540. We are buying it at 352. That's a good question. All right? So everybody follow me on this one? Guys, we bought this for 3 grand. Okay, and a wholesaler dropped this deal, and it was a dead deal for them. Okay, done. We own it. We're good to go. This is a deal. Like, this is 100% a deal. Okay, everybody make sense on that? Everybody got that? Okay, so check this out. And by the way, I know some of you guys are asking, but make sure to show up for the workshop. We're going to be launching the app at that workshop. So I put the link right here. All right, so we're going to be moving on to another beauty right here. And the address is 3300 Spanish Moss. This is a confusing one. Terrace, Unit 301. Bet you guys didn't know I bought condos, huh? Bet you didn't know, but I do. I have a rule about condos. I never buy condos unless I can steal them. Okay, everybody write that down. Will said to never buy condos unless you can steal them. All right, and stealing them to me means buying them less than 40 cents on the dollar. All right, make sense? I know some of you guys are watching me for the first time, and you guys are like, dude, who actually would sell you a property for less than 40 cents on the dollar? This guy's crazy. Well, you're staring right at one right here. So it happens every day, guys. Every single day. The only difference is I'm willing to ask, number one. Number two, I know how to do it, right? And our students know how to do it. So this is in Lauder Hill, okay? Working class area. This is actually what the property looks like. Can you guys see the pictures there? Yeah? Cool. So here's what the property looks like. This is nothing crazy, all right? We're not talking about a fire damaged property here. Could rent this out very, very quickly, all right? So I'm going to walk you through this one, all right? This was listed last year. So we already own it, okay? Here's the owner, Land Trust. This is us, all right? Strikes again. Let's check this out. What was the story behind this one? Well, where do you guys think I found? Where do you guys think we found this? What deal do you think we found this? All right, what list? Better said. Spanish Moss. I'm going back to the property appraiser, by the way. Why am I going back to the property appraiser? Because I want to see if it's tax delinquent, right? Cool. Here's a little condo building. All right. You guys ready for this? Check this out. What list was this on? This was on Babam, tax delinquency. Foreclosure was a good guess. Tax delinquency. All right. So let me teach you guys something here. This one's 2+ years. You see that? So you got 2+ here. Motivation went up here. It also helps that the property was owned by 2 ex-brother-in-laws that hate each other. So that also helps, right? God bless divorce sometimes. So here's the deal. Why doesn't it have a foreclosure? Well, because it's tax delinquent. 99% of the times when you find a tax delinquent property, you will not see a foreclosure. Why? Because the bank that owns the debt is not going to allow it to go to foreclosure. Why? Because if it goes to tax foreclosure, the bank gets wiped out. So banks are usually always paying the taxes every single year. Okay, so in this case, We know it doesn't have a mortgage, right? Did it have a judgment already or got it before that when they just had the Lis Pendens? So there's no judgment here. There's no judgment because it's not in foreclosure. This is just tax delinquency. All right, so if you go down here, no pre-foreclosure on the app, no liens, right? This is our quick claim deed. We bought this for $4,000. There's no mortgage. The last mortgage here was in 2005 before this owner owned it, okay? Yeah, so there's no judgment. There's no judgment here. And it won't go to tax delinquency sale until year 3+. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pay, where'd it go? I'm just going to pay one of these years and that'll automatically reset it. And that's that. You could pay both years too if you want. Okay. Make sense to everybody? Cool. So again, guys, look at the condition of this property. Would you say that this property is livable? Livable, right? Yeah? No? I think so. Did you check the docket to check if it had a mortgage? No, I didn't. I used the app very simply. So the last mortgage here was from 2012, and it was before these guys owned it because they bought this in 2020. So there was never a mortgage. See, there was never a mortgage here from 2020. These are not mortgages. These are transfers of ownership. Makes sense? So I didn't have to go to the docket, right? I'd live there. Super rentable. Exactly. Anybody want to take a wild guess at what this thing rents for? Take a wild guess. And then after that, I got another question for you guys. Does anybody think that you can buy 50% of a property? Think about that for a second. Does anybody think that you can buy 50% of a property? Nah, man. P Ventures. I wish it would rent for $2,500. It rents for $1,800 though. It rents for $1,800. It's a small little unit. It's a 2-2, but it's kind of in the hood, right? It's a little bit in the hood. Cool. So that's exactly what we did here, right? How did we buy this deal? We bought this deal. We bought half of the deal, really. So half the deal, right? Heir interest is one of them. In this case, like I told you, it was two brother-in-laws, right? Ex-brother-in-laws, better said. One is living in Argentina. The other one lives here and is a scumbag. He's never helped the other guy. He doesn't take care of the tenant, right? Like we already know this because we spoke to the tenant and all that stuff. So in this scenario, there was one gentleman that was speaking to our team, and he said, look, I own, a property with my ex-brother-in-law. I want to sell, but I can't get him on board to sell with me. Okay, so easy. That's called a partition in our business. All right, get to know that. Write that down. Partition. Partition is buying partial interest. It does not have to be majority. It could be 10%. It could be 5%, whatever. You buy partial interest, and then you sue for the other side to sell. Right? You force the sale. It is 100% legal. Happens every day. And we use it. It's one of our tools in the reverse flip method to get deals all day long. So in this particular case, this seller originally said, I want 20 grand for my 50%, to which I said, I will give you 3,000, sir, for your 50%. He said, I will take 8. We settled on 4. Okay. So I own 50% of this property for $4,000. Well, Will, what's the property worth? Lovely for you to ask, and I think it's a great question. So let's check it out. Come on, comps. Load with me. Come on now. Yes, fractional ownership, then sue the other owners once you have the majority to force the sale if you want to sell. Perfect. Thomas, that's not fair. You're already in the community. But I love it. So, all right, let's go down. All right, here we go. So you got a bunch of condos, right? We are looking for I mean, it says a 3-2, but it's really a 2-2. But basically, look at all these condo sales, right? These are all in the same building, Spanish Moss Terrace. You see that here? You have apartment 210, you have apartment 304, 715, 110. You see what it's worth here, right? 92, 90, 90, 90, 72, which are way smaller in a different building, which is inferior to us. 106. Yeah, so I mean, I have enough comps here to safely say 90K. Okay. How did we get in contact with the owner from Argentina? It was real simple. That's a good question too. So when we originally pull a list, right, you grab the owner, and basically this was a tax delinquent list, by the way. That's where this whole lead, like, where did we find it? It was a tax delinquent list. So as we were doing marketing, we knew that it was Gabriel Vilela and Yamir something. I forgot the last guy's name. Let's go over here to the property appraiser. Nope, that's the old one. Here we go. So the prior deed, look, and you even have comps on the property appraiser too. So the prior deed was in 2022. Yeah, by asking the guy you got it from. If the guy is hard to find, you can hire PIs too. That's right. So, man, Thomas is on point, bro. Gabriel Hugo Vilela was the guy we ended up buying from. And Yamir Ezekiel Rojas was his ex-brother-in-law, okay? So when we pull the list, both of them appear on title, right, as owners, because they're both right here. And just going through the conversation, one of our JVs talked to Gabriel, and he said, yeah, that's the whole conversation I just told you about. Yeah, I would love to sell my property. But in his mind, but I can't because I own it with my ex-brother-in-law, Yamir, and Yamir doesn't want to sell. Those are the best words you could ever hear, right? And then we explained to him, sir, you actually can sell. You can sell your portion, the 50%. Here's how it goes, right? He asked for 20. We said 3. He said 8. We said 4. Shook on it, pounded, dabbed it up, boom, locked it up. So 50% of a, let's just say, $90,000. That's what it's worth. It's worth 90 grand. So 50% of 90,000 is what? 45,000. That's right. And we own $45,000 worth of equity for $4 grand. I don't know about you guys. I'm not a mathematician, but that's a $41,000 return, right? That's a pretty good profit on one deal. Here's the deal, though. I'm going to show you what we did and how we're going to get the other 50%. So here's what you do in these scenarios. Scenario 1, we have tried contacting the other owner, okay? He has still yet to respond, okay? If he was to answer and he says, yeah, look, you know what? I want to sell my 50%. I'm willing to take, 50 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand, whatever. We have the high ground now, meaning we have all the leverage. We literally can tell him, sir, we already own 50% of it, okay? So you don't negotiate here. Here's what's going to happen. We're either going to file the partition, which we already did, and sue you and force you to sell, and you'll take whatever we give you, or we can come to an agreement now, 10 grand, 20 grand, right? Whatever it is that you want to pay, enough to make a spread. And we cannot do the lawsuit, and you can be done, right? So again, we don't have an answer from him yet. We already filed our partition, and I'm going to show you what that looks like here in 1 second. Yamir Rojas was his name, right? Yeah, Rojas. Yamir should not be a common name. So let's look this up. So what I did here, I went to the civil case search, all right? Now I'm looking up the lawsuit. Here it is, right? Plaintiff, guys, is always the people filing the lawsuit. The defendant is the person that was sued. So in this case, reverse flip is the plaintiff. We sued Yamir Rojas. This is our attorney, Gio, the GOAT. Here is your complaint. Why did we file a Lis Pendens, though? Let's stop for a second. Lis Pendens. So let me back up. What is a Lis Pendens, right? For those of you that don't know, a Lis Pendens is a legal cloud. Think of it like if the mic was the property, it's like a cloud over your property. Your property's sad, right? It's got clouds above it and it's raining on the property. What that means is if anybody wants to go sell it, or if anybody was to try to transact, or let's just say Yamir was to roll up and try to sell it, we will pop up on any title search, and he can't sell. He'd be a bad boy for selling because we have a cloud on title. So that's the first thing you do. It's also the first thing that banks do when they file for foreclosure. They slap your house up with a Lis Pendens, which is literally a piece of document that lets everybody know, hey, we so-and-so are suing so-and-so, and we're just letting everybody know and be on notice that we are in the middle of a lawsuit. No one's going to buy that house, right? So it protects us. Now, let's look at the complaint, right? The complaint is the lawsuit that summarizes what the heck is going on here, all right? So let's look through this. You have here, we're not going to read the whole thing because it's like 16 pages, but basically a non-party to this action obtained title to the property, blah, 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 in 2015. So this is like all the background, blah, 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 blah. So let's go through here. In 2025, this is the money shot. Gabriel Hugo Villela, right here, paragraph 6, a non-party to this action conveyed his other 50% interest in the property, which was recorded. Title to the property is now vested in plaintiff and defendants as tenants in common, meaning we both own it now. Imagine this, dude. Imagine this. Imagine you wake up one day, right? And you're not being a good guy. You're not being fair to your ex-brother-in-law. You're not taking care of the tenant. You're clearly not paying the property taxes, right? You're not upkeeping the property. You're not doing shit. And all of a sudden you wake up one day and now your ex-brother-in-law is no longer the owner, and you get hit with a lawsuit that literally tells you, hey, congratulations for being a jerk. You now own the property 50-50 with me. Yay. You now own it with a LLC that is forcing you to sell. I mean, imagine that. And it literally breaks it down here. Plaintiff, me, or LLC, 50%, and you, loser, 50%, right? So in this case, that's what we did here. And now this dude is like just standing there and just checking it out and saying, damn, this sucks, right? He's got no choice. Here's the quick claim deeds, right? Like our attorney obviously comes in super hot and heavy. He goes back through the chain of title, right? The whole freaking thing. And here's his deed. And of course, Exhibit D is us, which lets him know, yo, you effed up, homeboy. You are no longer the owner by yourself. So obviously, if he does, what happens, Will, if he doesn't answer? What happens if he doesn't answer the lawsuit? Well, that'll be beautiful because we will default him in the next 20 days. We'll file for a summary judgment. We get the summary judgment. Now the court says, yup, you can sell it. Let's say we sell it for 90. We'll put his 45 grand, the 50% portion, in a court registry. I'm not forced to wait for him. And it's a done deal. However, in this case, I don't want to sell this. I do not want to sell this. I like the property. It's a cute little condo. It's got no mortgage, right? So it's nice. Taxes are only 7 grand in arrears. I don't even have to pay those yet. So what am I doing in between? Well, the property, like I told you before, the property is rented right now. So there's a tenant inside. These guys had it rented. Now, the guy that sold to us, Hugo, nice guy. He's very honest. He said, look, this tenant is not a bad tenant. You know, she pays on time. She pays $1,525, so she's a little bit below market because of the condition of the property. You know, here's her contact information, yada, yada, yada. Her lease is expiring February 28th of this year. Okay, so she's just there. We've already made contact with her. Now, check this out. She now is paying us rent. So she's paying us the $1,525 every single month. So now we have taken rent because the guy that was collecting rent before was the ex-brother-in-law. Okay? So that's that. So now we're not only collecting rent. So in between this, I'm getting paid to own it. All right? The lawsuit is working out. This is what's going on. And in the day of tomorrow, I buy his percentage, or he finally contacts us and say, hey, please don't sue me anymore. I'll sell you my percentage, blah, 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 blah. I could structure a creative deal with him. And I could say, look, what do you want? Let's say we agree on 30 grand. I'll tell him, I'll say, look, I'll pay you the 30 grand over the next 3 years, 5 years, whatever. I don't have to pay him all up front. Why would I? Right? And that's that. Now I get a cash flowing asset. I could depreciate it for my taxes. It is debt-free, meaning there's no mortgage. I could refi it if I want to, right? And that's that. So somebody has a question here. I can't believe he's giving all this away for free. Yeah, I know, right? This is gold. So how much was it all in with legal fees and all? So the legal fees will probably run, I would say on the high end, 3 grand. And the deed was 4 grand on the back end. So 0 on the front end. It was actually $500 on the front end because we gave some consideration. So yeah, I mean, $7,000 all in to own 50% of that house or of the condo. Right. And again, over the next 3 to 5 years, this condo will probably will be worth somewhere between 150 to 175. It's like a savings account, right? It just keeps going up. So if I had an assignment of contract and a buyer lined up, but the tenant is the son of the deceased owner and has a sister that is untraceable, so the deal fell through due to probate issues. Okay. How would I start? Where is that deal? How would I structure a reverse flip? So again, I have a bunch of questions. So the son of the deceased owner. So does the son want to sell? Number one. Number two, who's the heir for that property, right, of the deceased? And the sister, so he's got a brother and a sister, so there's 2 heirs, and is untraceable, so the deal fell through. No one's ever untraceable unless they're dead. I can assure you of that. So you can hire a PI and stuff like that. I would need to know what's what, and I would need to figure it out. But yeah, you can actually, first of all, if you're not in the starter community, I would join the starter community because there's 3,200 people in there, and this is all they do, and this is all we do. So yes, you can JV with us. They will handle everything once you get the deed. Yep, Thomas is in the community. He knows and can help in getting the deed. Absolutely. Do you mind going over a pre-foreclosure deal? No, not at all. Faiz, is this the one in Massachusetts? Is this the one? How come nobody else was pursuing this property? So yeah, super good question, super easy. Nobody else really gave the seller the option that he could sell 50% of his interest. Like I said, the seller only thought, well, I can't sell. Everyone else, every wholesaler is going to approach this deal, and they try to buy it from them. And they said, oh, well, if we can't, we need the contract with you and your ex-brother-in-law because you need both people on title to sign a contract. But with a deed, you don't. I can buy partial interest. So that's why nobody else was pursuing this deal. Haha, yes. Yeah, Faiz. Is it Faiz or Faz? Faiz? I don't know. Tell me how to pronounce that. Yeah, I ran that deal real quick. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, it's in pre-foreclosure. It doesn't have a good interest rate, or it has a good interest rate, but the, what's it called? The arrears are just too high to keep it as a sub 2, in my opinion. But I could run it live with you. Absolutely. And we'll do that. Is everybody clear on this one, on the condo deal here? Right? Yeah, this is a banger of a deal. Easy. Fez. Perfect. Fez. Love it. So the address that you're talking about, my man, is 38 Dighton Avenue. Dighton. I don't know if I'm saying that right. These are like super white guy addresses from up north. I'm Cuban from Miami, so I'm doing my best. Doing my best. Is that the address? The 38 one? What was it again? Dighton. Ditton. I'm going to go with Ditton. I think it's Ditton. Right, Terry? You think it's Ditton? All right, so this is a property he has. It's in pre-foreclosure. According to him, I'm just going to use some of the notes. There's $424,000 in arrears. Well, $424,000 including $74,000, right? So 424 is owed total, right? Including the arrears. That's the total amount. Yeah, once you learn this, you'll find properties that have been distressed for more than 10 years and no one else has been able to structure a deal. Yeah, absolutely. I'm biased, but absolutely. Great. So, guys, let's run this play live, right? Like real time. So, you got a deal, and you guys can write this stuff down, right? I'm going to write it down here, but you guys can write this stuff down. So, he's saying that the mortgage, what's owed on the mortgage, including the arrears, meaning what the seller is behind on, is $424,000. Everybody get that? So, found out $360K owed total. Okay, well, that's a different story. That's a different story. That changes everything. If that's really the case, okay? How did you find that out? Did you get a payoff? How'd you find that out? Because what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to run through this. So the last mortgage was $324, 2.99%. That is a gift, by the way. So if you were looking for a sub 2 deal, that is a really good sub 2 deal in that regard, right? You could buy it using the reverse flip method and then just keep it subject to, right? The problem here is going to be the fact that there's $74,000 in arrears, meaning somebody's got to put up 74 grand to bring that note, that mortgage current. And to sell it as a sub 2 to somebody with $74,000 down, going to be really, really hard, right? But there seems to be equity. So let's just look at comps. All right. So what's owed now is 360. When's that payoff from, my man? Is it current or is it from like a year ago? This is good. I like the participation. I love it. There's like a delay with the comments, huh? Yeah. All right. Well, in the meantime, why don't we just look at comps? All right. Check this out. Last month. Beautiful. All right. So 360, bro. And there's no second mortgage, you don't think, that you know of? So we're going to look for here. We're going to match up a 3, 2.5, almost 1,500 square feet, okay? Now, I want to stay as sharp as possible to what this is. It's great. Can you send me a picture of the payoff? Is it possible to post it here, or I don't know if it will allow you? Enrique Dennis. What's up, brother? I got a deal in Little Gables. I love it. I love Little Gables, man. ARV 900K Revy. Reverse mortgage, maybe? Reverse flip? What do you got? I love it. All right, let me do one at a time. So let me do Fez's deal. So Fez, ours is a 3, 2.5, 1,460 square feet. Okay. So you have one sold here. And this sold looks like 592. Then you have another one. That's a unit that doesn't count. Hold on. This is what, I mean, this is a hell of a good looking property, brother. This is 2018. This is 2025 right here. Good looking property, bro. I'm curious, why does it have issues? Does it have like, roof issues or electrical issues or something? Like, why wasn't he able to sell this financing? Because he should be able to sell this all day long. I think this house is at least worth in the mid fives all day long. What does the seller want to walk away with? Do you know? Also, the auction is 129. How can we go ahead and stop that so we can pursue something? I was thinking of filing a TRO. You could file a TRO. Last worst case scenario, the seller could also file for bankruptcy. I wouldn't advise that, obviously, unless it's like an emergency. But he could file a TRO for sure. You could definitely do that. We would just get like an emergency stay, which we would show to the court, hey, look, we're trying to sell this property, to a buyer. We'd line up a buyer. We could even be the buyer. And the court, if he hasn't asked before several times, the court will usually grant 1 to 2 extensions. So they'll usually give you 30 to 60 days. I think we could do that fairly easy. And if the seller's willing to walk away with 10 to 15K. So you're telling me that you got a deal. 360 is what's owed. Plus, let's say 20K to the seller. 380. If the ARV is 550, which, what do you think the ARV is? I'm curious. But even if the ARV is 550 and you got this thing for 380, that's a deal all day long. All day long. And if it's financeable, and it looks like it is, by the way, buddy. It really looks like it is. If it's financeable, then we can just sell this to somebody. If the ARV is 550, probably sell it for like high fours, 480, and that's a 100K spread right there. So I think that's a deal all day long. If everything you're telling me is correct, that's a deal all day long. You got good comps here to support it. Yeah, 520, 540. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a deal all day long. As long as the only thing that's owed is $380, I would find out more information about the condition and is it financeable? Like, meaning, will it pass a 4-point? What's the age of the roof? What's the status of the AC, the plumbing, and the electrical? That's going to be your most important thing. And what does the inside look like? So if you can get pictures, that'd be great. I'm going to move on to Enrique's deal. That's a great deal, by the way, Fez. Hey, Will, my man, I got a deal in Little Gables, ARV, $900K, reverse mortgage in place, 510, both owners, 99 years old, no heirs at all, looking to get some cash and a $1,500, keep living there until their last day. Whew. I'm just worried about the foreclosure. Yeah, again, I would get all the docs and we would file a TRO. So we would need to find an attorney in Massachusetts to file a TRO. And that's that. Do you have an attorney? Do you know a title company? Somebody you could refer to? Yeah, we could get the deed for sure. Yeah. Just make sure it's the right owner. And if anybody else is on title with him, it looks like, I think his name was Jeffrey something. I don't remember his last name, but Stumpkin or something like that. Yeah, whoever's on title, that's what we need to do. You could get the deed for sure. Yeah. Just last question. You don't need to do like a probate or something on this, right? Because that would kill the whole deal. Because it's too soon, the auction. Yep, I live here. Perfect. Yeah, so just get with Scott on our team. I know you've been talking to him, and then we can push this along. All right, so Enrique, your question. Why don't you give me the address so I can actually look this up and like run it live too? I'll run it live. We got some time. So he's saying ARV's $900K. All right, reverse mortgage in place, $510,000. So that's what he thinks is owed. It's probably more, by the way. $510 is probably what they got many moons ago. Both owners are 99 years old. God bless them that they're still alive. No heirs at all. They're looking to get some cash. What does some cash mean? Does that mean like $5,000, $3,000, $50,000, $20,000? What does that mean? And $1,500 a month payment so that they can keep living. So they want $1,500 a month and they want to stay in it. That's a little confusing. Yeah, great job, Fez, for sure. It's a good one. It's a hot start. Enrique, let me know if you got those questions. 5, okay. Confused. Enrique, just shoot me the address. That's all I need. I'll handle it. $50K up front. Ooh, that's a little weird. That's a little different. I wouldn't do $50K up front for anybody. But shoot me the address and I'm going to run it. Imagine a deal comes out of this live. I mean, someone's going to get a deal out of this live. That's for sure. And we're going to keep going live, dude. And I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to start doing deals live just like this. So there's no excuse for anybody in this marketplace. Our mission is to show you how easy it is to do this and to provide the resources for you to do this. There's no reason why we don't get deals live, dude. This is easy. All right, well, if Enrique, I don't know if he hears me or not, but Enrique, if you want to provide the address, that'd be great. If I could run the play. If not, I would not, just based on what you're telling me, I would not do $50K down up front. Hold on, shooting the address 2 minutes. Okay. I would not do $50K up front. No way. And $1,500 a month, why would I pay them, right? No way. You'd have to structure this deal a little bit different. I do love the area. Little Gables is awesome. Okay, so perfect. This is a great area. 1 second. All right, so I'm going to walk you guys through everything here. There it is. Now, guys, again, as I'm running this play, I'm dropping the link one more time here for the workshop, okay? If you guys want to do this in more depth, that's what I'm going to be running through the workshop, okay? Like, there's No reason why you guys should not be at this workshop. I'm going to be running this live. I don't know why this doesn't let me post the link. That's gay. I don't know why. Well, if somebody from my team here can post the link, that'd be great. That would be awesome. All right. Enrique, I'm running this play for you here. So, MCM Holdings, great. They're not in pre-foreclosures. They're both still alive, and they must be paying the taxes. All right. So you're saying they want 550K. Excuse me. They want 50K up front, right, Enrique? Which I'm saying no to, by the way. But 1,300 square feet. All right. Yeah, this is a really hot area, guys. This is, comps are going to be all over the place. There's a lot of new construction going on in this area, too. So let me, hold on, that's not, hold on. Copy this. There you go. Antonio posted the link. All right, so this is a cute little house. Yeah. I mean, this is an up and coming area for sure. This is right by Coral Gables. Dope. Yeah, of course. Everything in Miami is bigger than everybody says it is because they all do additions. So let's see what legal says, huh? Let's see. What is there? Hopefully it's not a Hialeah special, brother. Jose Modesto and Siria Campos. Here we go. New roof and windows from 3 years due to insurance requirements. Okay, well, that's good. So it's a legal 2-1, 1,300 square feet. It doesn't bother me, though, because it's folios 3-0, which means that there's no reoccupancy in Miami-Dade County for this, okay? So you're saying there's a reverse mortgage. Great. There's just, again, Enrique, you got to structure this deal a little differently. I agree with you. I think the property is easily worth, and I mean, you have 2-1s over here. Look at this. I mean, you have a sold 2-1 over here, 765. I don't think that the ARV is 900, by the way. I just don't. I think that's a little overzealous. I know you have some comps there. I'm actually just going to pull something up before I say that. Let me run some super like real deal comps. All right, here we go. So whenever I drop a pin on a property, I always like to double check. Boom. There we go. This looks like it was either a new roof or a new construction. This looks like a tear down. There's a lot of that going on in this area. All right. So I'm going to grab these comps right here. I'm going to stay very nice and tight. Okay. Because this is an area that borders another area called Coral Gables. Okay. Very pricing. So right here is where we're going to go. Now, the way I like to run my comps is descending order. So don't worry about this. We're obviously not looking for new construction. We're looking for 1940s, 1950 builds. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. I agree that the ARV is probably in the mid 8s if it's a 3-bed, 2-bath. Okay. 2-1s, 4361. Yeah, Papa, but look, I agree with you. You have the comp here, but it's a 3-2, right? So you're saying it's a 3-2, fine. Let's see what it looked like, right? This is a total Mac Daddy rental. Yeah. Yeah, does it have a pool? Probably not. Nope, no way. Yours doesn't have a pool either. I think that's an outlier. Look, and it's showing you that the marketplace took 66 days to sell. So I would rather be conservative and say that it's worth 850. Okay, as a 3-2, fully renovated. So let's think about this logically, right? If what's owed on the reverse mortgage you said was 550, is that right? Mortgage in place 510. So you got 510 plus 50K to them. So you're at 560 plus $1,500 a month. Let's call that, 17 grand. Let's say these people stay alive for the next 2 years, which could happen. You're going to be all into this for 600, and it's going to cost you money every single month. Then you're going to have to do the work, some work to the property. There's always some work to be done, right? And then you're going to sell it. You're going to be all into it for 6 plus, 625-ish, 650 maybe. Then you're going to sell it for 850 a couple years down the road. We don't know if the market's going up or if it's going down, right? So great deal, 50K plus 510, amazing deal, right? But the terms just don't make sense. So you have to find a way that you can, and you're accruing interest, by the way, on that reverse mortgage. So I would say it's not a deal because they're not being realistic. Maybe you definitely can't give them 50K up front. There's just no way around it. So I wouldn't do that deal like that. I would do $0 up front. At the time of their death, the deed reverts to you, and you cover the difference of the mortgage every month. Maybe you could do something like that, but and then the 50K goes to their heirs or something like that. So maybe that's a strategy to do. But yeah, man, unfortunately, I think it's a great area, great deal, but yeah, a lot of ifs on that one. Exactly. And you know what I say about ifs? I don't like it. I don't like it. All right, guys, listen. This is a last question. So if you don't mind me asking, what kind of marketing do you run? So I recommend doing direct mail, cold calling, texting even to some of this, and door knocking works really, really well with these types of leads, for sure. Yeah. So most of the guys in our community is virtual driving for dollars and cold calling. Like I said, all these deals were basically virtual driving for dollars or cold calling to like a tax delinquency list and stuff like that. Thomas, you waited till the last second, huh? To throw that on me. Okay. Only because I'm already here, Thomas. I'm going to write. No problem, dude. You're welcome, Enrique. You're like one of the only other guys that has my last name. So spelled the same way. So I appreciate it. All right. So I'm going to run this play for Tomas, Puerto Rico. I guess he's from Puerto Rico. Maybe. It'd be funny if he was Cuban. Haha, it's good. No problem. Okay, so here we go. Miami, Florida, 5-bed, 3-bath, 2,350 square feet. Duplex. Who is the Pedro Amore? Okay. Last loan was 2006. Okay, pretty good. I am living in Michigan, though. It's all good, bro. You can live anywhere. You can live in Puerto Rico if you want. And you can do these deals. So there's a notice of Lis Pendens here. All right. Let's dive in. So I'm going to grab. I'm actually going to go over here because it's going to be faster. It's a duplex, and there's a very old case. Yep. Yeah, it's a case from 2021. So. Right here. But I still got to check what the hell's going on, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to find the Lis Pendens, and we're going to find the case number, which is right there, right? 2021 003 908. Cool. So we're going to go over here. Civil case search. Bomb. Local case. 2021 is the year. And what did I say? 003 908. 003 908. CA is circuit civil. That's what foreclosures always are. So here it is. Calendar call. It's not an old case. Well, I mean, it might be an old case, but they're resetting trial. So let's see what happened here. Ooh, this is a lot of... Ooh, Oh, that's a lot of activity. We're going to go down to the complaint, though, all right? The complaint is going to tell me everything that's going on here. So Nicole Zimmelden as to 10%, Marissa 37% versus a single man in the estate of. So if I had to guess, it's the heirs of Pedro Amore. Excuse me. The heirs of Norma Guerra have sued my man Pedro Amore for some kind of stuff. It's juicy. Yeah. Foreclosure and established lost notes. Yeah, so this one's hairy. Okay, the defendants have defaulted under the notes. While the mortgage matured, the defendants kept paying and the plaintiffs kept accepting monthly payments through. So it looks like they sold this. Principal balance. John Doe. John Doe. To reestablish note. Okay. This is Harry. Here's your mortgage. 50%. Well, here they are. Nicole Zimmelman. What did he do? Did he commit fraud and just deed it over to himself? I think it was a private loan. Yeah, that's fine. They just sued him for that, though. That's not. So have you spoken to the seller? Do you know what he wants? Do you know what he wants to do? Because this is crazy. This is a big case. And clearly they don't have their shit together because they can't figure out what to do here. They've been at this for 5 years. No way I would have taken 5 years to freaking foreclose. Motion for default, order of default, order resetting trial, order denying motion for trial. Man, this has been crazy. It's got to be a lot higher what's owed now, too. You're going to call this week. Yeah, I would figure out what they want to do. This is a very, very sharp guy or a very devious guy, Pedro Amore, because he's been playing around with this foreclosure case and kicking the ball down the field for 5 years. All right, he must have a damn good attorney. Parties right here. Plaintiff. So again, he's the defendant. The estate of Norma Guerra. You're probably going to need to do a probate. John Doe. Defendant. Where's the attorneys? Barclays Bank. Yeah. It's a hairy one, dude. Let me know what they say. But you need to get Pedro on board. Also, hold on. Let me check something really quick. Hold on. There's no deed document. Excuse me. It's a duplex too. It's great. Let me see if I can get the deed here. Come on, baby. Yeah, I got it. So Pedro Amore, a married man. So Alberto Sanchez deeds it over to Pedro Amore, a married man. So I want to know if Norma Guerra was his ex-wife or what was going on there. But that's the last deed from before then. Chances are, something tells me you might gonna have to do a probate. So yeah, that's what I would do. I would get on the phone with Pedro Amore and see what the hell he wants to do. But this is gonna be a very like, you know, I would say he's gonna be a cocky seller because he feels cocky because he's been beating these people in court for 5 years. So anyway, guys, this has been an absolute pleasure. I actually enjoyed this very much. The first reverse flip deal desk, right? I love it. Tune in. We're going to drop a link to when we're going to be doing this again. Tune in. This is going to be an active thing every single time, okay? And we're going to be doing live deal reviews, and live deals are going to come from this. Mark my words. Again, the workshop, January 22nd, 6 p.m. I dropped the link there. If you guys found this helpful at all, be there because it's going to be like this on steroids. Appreciate you guys. Have a great night. Take care.